In this lesson, we'll be learning about the limitations of the record macro function and the flexibility that learning how to write code in VBA gives you. As you've learned from using the record macro function, it is very cut and dry. What you do, it records in code and then it does the exact same thing when you have done action for action when you rerun the macro. It is simple and easy to do. However, it is limited to what you can do manually. Imagine being able to replicate the manual work you do faster, more accurately with less checking, as this can be built into your code. You can have it write reports for you, putting the data in each report while doing it for 5, 10, or even 15 reports within seconds. The amount of reports doesn't even matter. The first reason of difference between using the record macro and writing your own code is how messy and inefficient record macro really is. Let's take a look at what it wrote. Immediately we can see that what the recorder has written is extremely messy. It's also very inefficient. There's no structure to what we are looking at. It's similar to writing a speech with a speech recognition software. In theory, it's good and it saves time, but you realize that you still have to go through and clean out the mistakes that are made, and it does not actually make things that efficient when you think about having to go back and review all the work. This is due to the fact that the record macro can only record what you do as you do it. This results in extremely inefficient code, as not everything is relevant, nor is it the best and most efficient way of writing the code to achieve the same result. The second reason is that recording macros in this way is inefficient. There are existing programming tools and concepts that allow you to streamline multiple actions together in a much cleaner and efficient way. In this code here, we see that there's a quite short amount of code. There's only 4 lines of code. However, it's much more concise and efficient than if you were to manually perform what it is doing. A loop, function, and array are being called within this code in order to place values in a series of label captions. There are 8 in total. This is all done with just 4 lines of code. The beauty of having a code structure like this is that regardless of how many caption labels we are doing, whether it be 10, 20, or 100, the code remains the exact same except for the length of the array of percents. The third and last reason of the benefit of writing your own code versus the record macro function is that VBA is able to access other Microsoft Suite programs. It's a language built to utilize them through the same object-oriented approach that it does for Excel. While the language is more for Access in Excel, it does allow you to export your data into these programs. You can create reports, PowerPoint decks, or otherwise, as long as you have an idea of what you want it to look like and the data is in the appropriate format for export. If we run this line of code here, we can see that this range of cells is copied and pasted into PowerPoint after it's been opened. You can create new slides, format them, and basically have full reign over their functions as long as you know what you're doing. If you find yourself taking data from one Microsoft application to another, and it's in a consistent format, you can utilize this feature of VBA to your advantage and cut down the amount of time you put into generating these files.